How long are you going to continue to look for happiness outside of yourself? This is crazy. This is nonsense. Nothing outside of you can make you happy for very long. Because in this temporary world, you will never find lasting satisfaction. And so you have to jump on one train, onto the next, always seeking and never finding, always grasping and never holding on for very long before what you have found that you think is finally it, what I've been searching for all this time. You watch as that slips right through your fingers, like sand washing through the ocean tide. You cannot hold on to anything. And the harder you try, the more you grasp and the more desperate you get. What do you think is going to happen? You watch as everything falls away slowly. And what can you do about it? Nothing. But you see, this is what they call the cycle of suffering. Until we come to realize the futility of this ego's existence, then we will be on a never-ending journey, trying to find something that does not exist. So I want to save you years of struggle and suffering and pain and misery and disappointment. And the good news is that what you are looking for is already here. You see, because within us is the eternal. We live between two realities, the external world and the internal world. These are two opposite polarities. And so the external world is the temporary, changing, and the internal, the deeper you go, it gets more eternal and more unchanging. And so think about what you truly desire in this life. What is it that you actually seek? Because oftentimes we look for things. If you dive deeper, you will realize that you are searching for a feeling. Human beings are quite simple. We just want to feel good more often and bad less often. And we think that the things of the world will bring us that. But because the world is always changing, nothing ever lasts, and we always have to find something different, go and get more. But once you find the unchanging, that is where lasting satisfaction can be found. Because there is never a time when it is not there. If something is eternal, then it is reliable. And so you see, when we build the foundation of our life on that which is changing, when the storms of life come, they will wash us away because we are not stable. But if you root yourself in the unchanging, then you are forever protected. No matter what things, no matter what life throws at you, you will be okay. And you can have lasting peace, lasting satisfaction, lasting love, lasting joy. But these things cannot be found outside of you, because only within you is the eternal found. So long as you place these things that I have spoken about, that you want, that you know you want, so long as they are conditional upon the circumstances of your external reality, you will never have what you want. And so the sooner you can stop that journey and go within and find what you are truly seeking, the less pain and misery and disappointment you will experience. And because what you are looking for is unchanging and eternal, that means it is here with you now, and that it can never be separated from you. But we just have to find it. We just have to recognize it. One hint is that if you pay attention around you right now, you will hear a variety of different noises going on around you. And all of these noises are arising and falling back into silence. And what you will find is that this silence is always present I guess I lied when I said there was nothing eternal outside of you, because there is an eternal silence around you at all times. There is an eternal space, which is why when you go out into nature and you get away from the noises of the city, you can find peace. But then when you travel back and have to go back to your life, oh gosh, the storms return. And so you see, it is only things in the external world that temporarily allow what is already within us to emerge. There is already everlasting peace. There is already love and joy. And until we can learn to bring these things out by default, then these things will never last. But back to the point. If you pay attention, there are noises arising and falling within the eternal silence around you. And so too, when our mind is noisy, we often do not recognize the eternal silence that is within us. You see, silence is synonymous with peace, and you know this from your own experience. When there is silence, there is peace, and when there is noise, there is a lack of peace. But you see, it does not matter whether or not your mind is noisy, because the silence is there regardless. If you have a house that's filled up and stacked with boxes, even though there are objects everywhere, there is still the space underlying everything. The space is just hidden by the objects. And so you see, the whole world, our whole reality, is designed to distract us from this truth. They call it the great illusion, or perhaps one may call it Maya. And so the reason that so few people ever become enlightened or awakened in this life is because people are too distracted by focusing on the objects of their external reality. That's why Carl Jung said, "He who looks outside dreams, but he who looks within awakens." So long as you are preoccupied with the world, with the temporary, you will not find the eternal. But if you find the eternal, the temporary takes care of itself. You can have the whole world and everything in it, and you will have nothing. But you can have nothing of this world and have found what I speak about, and you will have everything. Now, of course, we will have both. But the point is that we have to set our priorities straight. We have to look at what is most important before engaging in all the things of the world. There is nothing more important than this mission, because so long as we postpone ourselves, postpone this journey, there will always be something missing within us, and we will constantly look to temporary pleasures and addictions to satisfy something that they can never satisfy. As we've discussed, it's an endless cycle of suffering. And so if you want to be free from suffering, you must go within. And what I am pointing to is not difficult. In fact, it is incredibly simple and straightforward. But our mind is complicated, and it's complex, and it wants to grasp and hold on to things. It wants to say, "Oh yes, I am enlightened now. I have found what I am looking for. I have my peace and my joy and my love. Look at me, everybody. I'm spiritual." But the same one who seeks will not be the same one who finds. The same one who embarks on this journey will not be the same one who finishes it. And so long as we remain attached to this mind identity, we will continue an endless journey of seeking, but never finding. And so what we have to do is go beyond the mind, beyond all thoughts, beyond all beliefs, beyond all ideas, because the truth is not relative. The truth is absolute. It is eternal. It is everlasting. So it has to be true everywhere, always. It has to be true in the Andromeda Galaxy, on the alien planets, and it has to have been true before there were ever human beings to exist. So all of our language, all of our thoughts, everything that we come to know, is no longer useful here. That is why on this spiritual journey, you may have all of your religious beliefs, all of your spiritual beliefs, all of your ideas that have gotten you to this point. But if you wish to go beyond, you have to leave them all behind. It is not that you have to throw them away, you just have to put them down. As I like to say, you will not take your holy books to heaven with you, because they, along with your body, will remain buried in the dirt. When we are attached to our mind, we are also attached to all of these beliefs and ideas. And these will do nothing but lead us astray. I mean, we can enjoy the journey and the process of discovering. I still enjoy philosophy and spiritual ideas and all of that jazz. But for those who want to come to the highest truth, these will not suffice. In fact, they will hinder our progress. The more ideas, the more expectations, the more assumptions that we have, the more we will be led astray. And because we have spent a whole lifetime entertaining our mind, our thoughts, we have been conditioned to only focus on the noise and be incapable of hearing the silence. We have to go primal. We have to go deeper. Before there was ever a mind to perceive. Think about it this way. There is what we truly are, and then there is our mind, which adds all of this stuff on top of it. All of the stories, all of the identities, the beliefs, the ideas, the narratives about the world and about other people. And so we have spent our life identified with the mind. And yet we were always right here as the unchanging what? The unchanging awareness that underlies all experiences. And so what you will find if you look right here, right now, is that there are only two things that ever exist. From the moment we are born until the moment we die, there are only ever two things. There is an infinite array of changing experiences upon the backdrop of an unchanging awareness. And you are that. You are that awareness in which all experiences rise and fall back into. You are this silence. You are this space. You are the eternal. And these ideas are all nice. But do you really see? Do you see this for yourself? Can you look with your own two eyes and see that you are this unchanging awareness? Or how about if you close your eyes and you feel the space around you, you sense it, and then you turn your attention within. Do you feel the space within you? Do you see that there is no separation between the space outside of you and the space within you? And within this space there is a presence, and that presence is the radiance of your true nature. And that presence is radiating from you, the unchanging awareness. This presence, this space, will be there tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and even the next day. And yet your mind will change, your body will change, your thoughts, your ideas, your beliefs, your identities will change. But you will not. And so the trick is to see through the illusion of the person we believe ourselves to be. Because when you close your eyes and try to find that person, you cannot find it. But what you do find is that presence. Which you can come to see is that all experiences are happening from you, the awareness. And once you see it, you can't really unsee it. Your mind begins to naturally focus on that. And what will happen is that the more you focus on your true nature, and you take your identity away from the mind, away from your thoughts, away from the personal life situation that you are currently in, your life begins to enter into an extreme state of harmony, where all of your problems seem to magically work themselves out. You heal yourself automatically. your trauma, your addictions, your problems, your relationships, because you are no longer adding any psychological nonsense, projecting it out into the world and creating a mess. This is what it means to stop the wheel of karma. This is what it means to stop creating trouble for yourself. The effects of karma will become drastically reduced, and everything that you do will be in flow with the harmony of life. You will become more efficient and effective at everything. You will develop automatically, and the path will be revealed to you. You will have so much more clarity about what you need to do that you will no longer have any questions. All questions are dissolved within the light of your awareness. In this recognition, there is nothing left to do after this but to watch your life unfold and enjoy the magic. Before this moment, life is just an endless struggle, just day-to-day survival. And maybe tomorrow, or the next day, or sometime in the future, things will get better. Maybe once I have some money, maybe once I fall in love, maybe once I have something else, maybe once I become someone else, then jump off the cycle of suffering, because there is no end. But once you recognize your true self, all suffering goes with, all suffering leaves you, because you are no longer identified with your experiences. All of your problems are personal problems. And when there is no person, there are no problems. And it may take some time to allow the unconditioning to unfold. As it has been said, if you turn the switch off to a light, or if you turn the switch off to a fan, the fan's going to keep going for a while until eventually it stops. And so the moment you turn off the switch, which is you awaken to your true nature, then the momentum of the ego, of the personal identity, begins to slowly fade over time, and it becomes less and less prominent in your life. And as it fades away, your life enters into greater and greater harmony. Because the mind acts like a valve to a hose, it's always constricting the life force within us. And what you find is that when there is no mind, there is God. And where there is a lot of mind, there is no God. Which is why all the atheists fall under the same archetype. If you've noticed, they are all highly intellectual, rational types. They are very intelligent, so they identify with their mind, and therefore they are blinded, unable to see God, because they exist in a reality of separation, in illusion. And God is truth, God is unity. I like to think that once you come to this recognition, you become like a chicken with its head cut off. You might still wiggle around for a while, but the ego has been executed. And no matter how much it tries to take its life back, its whole game is futile. But you see, the ego doesn't want to die. It wants to live like the rest of us. And so it will come at you with everything it's got to convince you to avoid your freedom, to block out the truth, to hide and run away into the darkness. Because when you are attached to the darkness, to illusion, when the light of truth is shined upon you, you feel like you are burning away. But it's only what you are not that burns. And when you come out on the other side, you find that you are beyond death, because this awareness that you are is unchanging, and that which is unchanging is eternal, and that which is eternal never dies because it always was. It was never born. Before this recognition, we are simply playing life on demo mode, because we cannot live life fully and freely when we are also a slave. When we are a slave to a million different attachments. But when we are free, that is when our highest potential can be expressed. Who you were meant to be will shine. And for most people, this can be a scary process, because when you identify with the mind or the ego, you might feel like you are going to die, or that you are going crazy, because who you believed you were is falling away. And the more we hold on to that person, the more we will get ripped apart. As I said, when we are attached to the darkness, when the light comes, we burn. It hurts our eyes. Too much truth. But resistance is futile. We are torn between two realities. If we stay attached to the world and temporary things, we experience endless suffering and temporary pleasure. And if we go within, toward the eternal light, then our attachments will get burned away. And this too can be an experience of suffering. But once the band-aid is ripped off, there is freedom in which suffering no longer plagues you or burdens you again. Only until the recognition is there much of a journey. Because until this moment, we are a person embarked on a spiritual journey, trying to find the finish line, that is enlightenment. But the journey ends the moment you realize that there was never a person to embark on a spiritual journey, and you are already at the finish line. Because you are already that eternal awareness, and you were never the person. And so the only thing that is required is your recognition.